Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. People, welcome back to the channel. Anfield Index, live and exclusive to the Red Room, and Red Room, live and exclusive to the Anfield Index. How are we doing? Just when Liverpool have a bit of a downer, we then go into the dreaded international week to make it more of a downer. I don't know how you guys cope with international weeks, but I'm going to ask the panelists how they cope, how they're feeling, how they're coping with the international week and the slump of Liverpool. Is it a slump of Liverpool? Is it a disaster show? Who are the scapegoats? Who needs to improve? What do we need to do to get back on track? And is there light at the end of the tunnel? This and many more questions and opinions will be asked and given. And of course, I've got an esteemed, my favorite people, man. When you're like feeling a bit down, like I'm not well, got a bit of a cold, the weather's fluctuating down south in Luton here. I need Ben. I need Ben in my life. Ben, how are we, Ben? How are we doing? Or are you, it says red or alive. Are you dead or alive?
Fucking dead, lads, yeah. Yeah, mate, it's not getting any easier each fucking week with these pods, lads, is it?
It started off all right.
To be honest, this is the one international break that I felt like I needed. I feel like I needed a break from Liverpool for a little week or two. And I feel like they needed one from us. But I'm good, mate. Hope you're feeling a little bit better anyway.
Well, there's only one way to feel better. And that's talking to you guys and talking about Liverpool. Good, bad, or ugly. We love them and we must talk about them. Mo, how are we? I know you. I like talking to you as well. You're one of my favorite guys to go to. I actually, quick little story how I found you, or you found me, or introduced to you. Spaces, Liverpool Spaces, and I remember you fighting like a whole herd of opposition fans and Liverpool fans in there as well. And I think Liverpool were going through a bit of a rough patch at that time. And I really liked your balanced and like you was like, you know that meme of
Jon Snow.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And everyone was coming for Liverpool and everyone was like, you lot are finished, blah, blah, blah. And I like the way you held your own. And I thought, yeah, man, I like this. And I think I reached out to you, messaged you, and there the love affair started. How are we? How are we feeling? Even you must be a bit. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you're feeling. We haven't chatted much this week. How are you feeling about the Reds and everything right now?
It's been a horrible watch. I can't lie to you. To be honest, all season we haven't looked the best, but obviously losing 3 games in a row has just been awful. And I can only echo what Ben just said. This international break, I usually don't look forward to them, but I was looking forward to this one. Just a little break away from like these results, these performances. Maybe they can sort out their heads whilst they're away, international duty. And whilst Slot's got like a little break, maybe he can just figure out what his best team is and stick to it. Ultimately, that's what I want to see going forwards. But yeah, going back to how we met, it was all one of those crazy little spaces where there's loads of rival fans, and it was during the 22-23 season where we were just appalling. We was like really bad. And they were just trying to give Klopp stick. And you know how much I love Klopp. He changed this club. So
you wouldn't have it. I remember you wouldn't have it.
No way.
Good on you. Good on you. Lou, how are we doing? Beyond the Cop, as you can see, guys, make sure you go over and check out Beyond the Cop as well. Lewis is doing great stuff. Again, someone whose content I saw, like the way he speaks about Liverpool. And the story started there as well. How are you feeling? Normally, you're a very positive guy. I've seen you always look at the bright side of things, sort of glass half full, then glass half empty. But I guess last week or so they really tested us. But do you think it's because if we just, I know it's hard, but if we just take a deep breath and sit back and calm down, we're 1 point behind Arsenal. Am I right? Is it 1 point? We're 1 point.
Yeah, 1 point.
There's 7 games played, and somewhere I read we've played the current top 6 teams in the Premier League, including some of our toughest aways, including Newcastle away. How are you feeling about everything?
I mean, the glass isn't full anymore because I think I've drank everything to death over the past week. But like, Look, I'm still positive. I've been doing research recently for stuff on my channel. Do you know how many games we lost at home between 92 and 2000? We lost 37 matches. Do you know how many games we lost in 2010-11? We lost 17 matches that season. I think people who are sat there saying Slot's not good enough, we need change, we need this, they need perspective, man. They need to realise how shit times have been at this club before in the past, when we were having to watch Bruno Cheyrou as the big signing in 2002, when we had Andy Carroll bombing up the thinking the place, or like we've been through much worse times on. So I'm downbeat after what's happened this week, the past week, Galatasaray, Palace, Chelsea. But fucking, it could be worse. I just think there's a lot of discourse at the minute from a lot of people who are spoiled at the moment. Criticise, by all means, give negative opinions if you're down, if you're stressed, but the people who are sat there going, this is awful, fucking hell, he doesn't know what he's doing, this is terrible, but look, it's fucking hell, there's been worse times, so people just need to calm it a little bit. But I'm all right. I don't know. I like the international break, me. I like England, so I'm in the element.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But Ben, do you think because we overachieved last season, and let's be honest, we did overachieve last season, right? We win the league, and then we go and act like the big dogs that we should be, and go smash it in the transfer market. Do you think it's the frustration, anger in some quarters, everything else is justified? Or do you think sometimes you need a little break, like the international break, and assess and realize and listen to the players when they talk about what they've gone through in the summer? And then you look at all the new players that have come in. How do you find the balancing act yourself personally? Because look, we're fans, we're fickle. We go mad. Me and you had arguments in WhatsApps. No, don't talk about, don't. Right. But it's true. We that's what football fans are. We're not angels. We can't control our emotions for something that we love, because Liverpool's something we all love. And when you love something, you're passionate about it, and then your passion can go overboard either way. How do you balance things out? Because you're a bit like me, you do calm down, and then we think, yeah, okay. Like, is it because we won last season and we were... Did we fall for the media narrative? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Did we fall for it? Because they baited us into thinking, it's a walkover. Liverpool spent 400 million, Ekitike, Isak, Wirtz. Oh my God, it's all over. Did we fall for it?
Essentially. But the thing is, though, we would fall for it because we never do that shit anyway. So to us, it's like the kids at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, look, if there's ever a club that deserves... fan base deserves to see, them act a big club with signings, then it's definitely us, because I've watched us through some torrid fucking summer and January windows. So, for me, it's more disappointing. I go to games like yourself, Grizz, and the disappointment for me is we're better than this. We're well better than this, and I think we're dog shit at the minute. And self-inflicted, you know what I mean? Let's be honest, I think we've been getting beat, and that's our own doing. None of these teams are as good as Liverpool. We're just fucking stooping down to silly levels, and I think Lou's right. People have gone over the top, but I do think some criticism is true.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
I do think. Look, you praise them when they're doing well, and you criticise them when they're not doing well. And do you know what I feel like it is? I don't think we've took ourselves serious since we fucked off partying when we won the league. I think we need to get back to being serious. Because you wouldn't get some other clubs doing that, not during the season. I think now's the time. You mentioned before we're only 1 point behind. To me, that pisses me off even more, because we were 5 points fucking clear. So Liverpool need to waken up and liven up. We've definitely got the players to do it. Enough of this, it'll take time shit. We need to get going now, because the league stops for no one. And I definitely think this international break is good for the fans, the players, most importantly, the manager. He's got to find his best team fast, Chris.
Well, this is what I was going to segue into, right? We've all given our opinions, feelings, how we feel about the current situation. And if people haven't watched us or heard us or listened to us, you'll know that we're not really the shouting and ranting and raving and spitting in the computers type fans, right? We're just not. But then I don't think we're the type of fans that can't criticize either and think everything's rosy in the garden. and everything's hunky-dory and all just support, we'll always support. There's no doubting we'll always support. But there's constructive criticism. And when I say constructive, we can't construct nothing, lads. We're just giving our opinions on a YouTube, sitting in front of a camera. But it's good to discuss, and it's good to get different perspectives. Adam says the slot slander is stupid, though. Constructive criticism allowed through this week. 40 Mo's in the building. Judge Mo, good friend of mine. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, Mo. Make sure you guys go and check out his work as well, man. I remember watching Mo on Football Terrace about 4 years ago. Fast forward, Mo was absolutely smashing the YouTube scene on his own as well. He's been on my channel a few times as well when I used to do regular content all those years ago. But big up, Mo. I've come to you, Scouse Mo. We thought we got enough of Welsh Mo, got rid of Welsh Mo. Yeah, bloody hell.
He's watching his team gets spanked.
How many Mo's is there? Soon we're going to be discussing the other Mo as well.
Welsh Mo, Scouse Mo, too many Mo's.
You was a massive, huge defender of Klopp. As I said, that's when we started talking and everything else, right? Where are you with the criticism of Slot? Because we know how our club works. He didn't sign these players per se. Like they were sourced, and we know the football, how it works, right, within our club. He has an input, but he doesn't have the final say, right? But he's inherited that squad. He wins the league with that squad. Do you get certain fan bases, certain media outlets questioning him, saying, oh, well, that was Klopp's team, like they're doing with Arteta? That was Emery's team that won the FA Cup. Let's see what Arteta does. But our difference is Arteta has been 5 years on from that, 6th year, and still haven't won anything. Is the comparisons fair?
I don't think it's fair because the team that he inherited, which was Klopp's team, didn't win the league. Slot won the league. That's the main difference. One thing that he definitely did do is shore up our defence, shore up all the leaky goals that we were conceding. The season before he joined, I remember we kept on going 1-0 behind continuously. It seems to be like every game before he kicked off, he was already 1-0 behind. And then the season he came in, he showed up the defence. We was a lot more calm, a lot more astute on the ball. And that led us to some great results in the early parts of the season. And I find it rather bizarre and strange that this season he's gone away from that. Don't get me wrong, I love Klopp and I love Slot, but no manager is immune from criticism. If I see things that are like a little bit off from my perspective, then any fan should be entitled to call it out. Obviously, they're not going to listen to us. They don't know me. Who am I? I'm no one. But like, I can only voice it, and these are the kind of spaces where you can voice it and get it off your chest. Ben invited me to his channel yesterday, and I felt a lot better after I spoke with Ben, and I feel like I'm going to feel a lot better today. I think you touched on the transfers, and in the summer, it was the best transfer window we've ever had. Like, we smashed the British transfer record twice just after winning the league. It was mental. But I think maybe we were a little bit too excited, because when you think about it now, some of the profiles of these players, I don't know how it's going to fit. And I feel like this is going to be the challenge that Slot has. Because if you think about it, Wirtz, Ekitike, Isaac, all three of them have one thing in common. They love that left half space. Ekitike is a striker, but potentially the position he's going to have to play is left wing. That also, I find that as a little bit questionable. Kirkes, the signing of Kirkes, although I wasn't the biggest fan of him, I think his best attribute is bombing up and down that left hand side. We've hardly seen him do that this season. We've seen.
Well, we're gonna get into the individuals that or the fans or whoever's different platforms.
But specifically when it comes to Slot, I won't talk about the players, but specifically when it comes to Slot, he's done a lot of questionable things. I think, First of all, he needs to pick a team and just stick with it.
Yeah.
He needs to stop changing a defender whenever they get a yellow card. Just trust them that they can stay professional on the pitch and not pick up the second yellow, because that's really frustrating. The substitution the other day of Endo just was the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen him do, and I still can't believe he did that substitution. And there's a lot of things he needs answering for, but I'm hoping that this international break has came at a perfect time where he can sit down with his coaching staff and just come up with the perfect formation, team, balance that can lead us on to at least the next international break, because we've got 7 games in 21 days. It's going to be a huge challenge, but he needs to figure this out, because if we continue the way we've been playing all season, not just the past 3 games, but all season, Arsenal could potentially just run away with it. But also, after the last international break, we were all like, yeah, we're going to run away with it. We're 5 points clear. And Arsenal are done for after the, I think they lost to us, isn't it? They're done for. And now it's the other way around. Everyone thinks, but a lot of people, the general...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And now the general narrative is that Liverpool are dead in the water. We're not, and Arsenal are going to run away with it. This is football. Cycles will happen.
100%. It's way too early to call it anyway. Look, people struggle when you give an opinion that isn't always pro-Liverpool. So I personally think I make Arsenal favourites for the title. Does that make any difference whatsoever to what's actually going to happen to Liverpool? No. You know what I mean? I'm hoping I'm absolutely clueless and I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, and we win the title. But taking into consideration all the changes and everything else and the continuity of their team added to the 300 million they've spent, whereas we've totally changed our lineup, 4 or 5 of our teams brand new, and also we spent 100 million pound more. I think it negates that extra spend. Lewis, where are you with this? With the slot needs to find a team, because now we need to find solutions. We know what the problems have been, but moving forward, we need to fix this. We need to get out of this rot, this slump, however you call it. And obviously, we got that team across the road coming over. What does Slot need to do moving forward in the next few games, in your opinion?
Well, like you said, pick a team. Stop playing players in positions that are makeshift. You've got a midfielder at right back. You've got a right back at right wing. You've got a striker on the left wing, a number 10 on the left wing. Like, you've signed players for specific positions on this team, and they're playing anywhere but those positions. And then, it's square pegs round holes. And I think that for Slot, who last season, you look at him and you thought, right, we saw what he did with Quansah as an example. He was awful in that Ipswich match, immediately got dropped. You've then got Konate there, who's stinking up the place. And I know that we've got no real backup, and I know that we've got Leone's injured, and Gakey didn't come. If he's being this shit, drop him out, put Gomez in if you absolutely need to. There's options there that we can use. You've got players like Salah at the moment, who is not doing well at all. And you've got Chiesa there, who's performing whenever he's playing, who's actually making an impact when he's coming on the pitch. And he's sitting on the bench and doesn't even get a minute. You've got Cody Gakpo, who, as much as Neil Mellor wants to sit there and say, oh, he's brilliant against Chelsea. Yeah, he got a goal, but he didn't do much else beyond that. And then you've got this young lad in Rio Ngamoa, who was the brightest spark against Newcastle when he came on, who would have been perfect against Atletico Madrid if he'd started that match. You've got him there, and you're not utilising him. It's like there's plan A, and if plan A doesn't work, there is no plan B. There is no option of what you do afterwards. And it's not like we can't say we haven't got depth. You've got Curtis Jones there. You've got Florian Wirtz, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberg. You've got more attacking options than most teams in the Premier League, and they're good quality players. But I just don't feel like he trusts the players in the positions that he's actually signed them for. Frimpong is a prime example. He's been brought in as a right back. He is not a right winger. So why is he being played up top ahead of Chiesa in those situations? You've got Conor Bradley as your backup right back. Why are we sticking to Bosley there? Because he played well against Newcastle and Arsenal. Like, he didn't have to defend against Newcastle because they targeted Kerkez. It's just little things like this. And Slot is, I'm not sitting here saying Slot's wrong in what he's doing. I know sod all about football tactics. I'm not going to lie. But it's just obvious things that you just look like that and just think, if you've somehow made your squad weaker, or you've signed players for the wrong positions after all this money spent, why did we spend it? Like, it just feels like it was more of a sort of, get the fan base on board, spend all this money, bring in these big name players. And the more I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, could we have kept Diaz? Could we have kept him? Could we have kept, Quansah? Did we need to sell him? It's just so many questionable decisions because of the benefit of hindsight. But with all that being said, if you look at the situation we're in now, where you think, right, we need to turn this around. We've got big games coming up. We're in a title race. Look at the depth we've got to be able to figure out a solution. This isn't like 17-18, 18-19, where if Salah wasn't in the team, your backup was Shaqiri. If there was no Firmino, your backup was Origi. No disrespect to them, but we've got world-class quality players ready to jump in. And if we can't find a solution with that depth of player, with that caliber of player, then a few months down the line, I'll say, right, there's an issue here. But we have options and players there to make it work, and I'm confident that we can find a way to get around it.
But Lewis makes a couple of points that I want your opinions on that, because this is serious then. He's suggesting, and a lot of people have been suggesting, in fact, when I asked what shall we talk about in the WhatsApp, Welshmo was asking the question as well in the chat. You know, and I shout out Welshmo still. Last week he came out with a classic one about we need to go back to basics and play a diamond with two up front, which we've never done in the history of Liverpool. So great basics, Mo. Mo, we love him really. He's what a human being he is. He's an absolute top guy. Ben, we spent a lot of money. You was excited. You was very happy we're acting like the big dogs. I remember you saying we need marquee signing. We ended up getting 3 marquee signings pretty much, if you put Kitty in there as well, right? But like Lewis says, with the benefit of hindsight, be honest with me, did we do too much? I mean, did we change too much? Did we need to do too much? And this is the question that everyone's asking. Did we buy the wrong profile of player? And if so, what would you have done different with the benefit of hindsight? Or sod all that, we're good, it will come good, and everything's fine.
I understand the majority of the signings. You know, I think, look, if you talk about the number 10,
go for them.
If you look, to sign the fullbacks, we don't need to obviously go into them as much as yet, but Liverpool, if you're building a team, you want your creativity up the pitch, don't you? So they've obviously replaced Trent's creativity with the number 10. I get that. The one, for me, where I think, what were they thinking of it? Because I found it hard that we signed 2 number 9s. Do you know what I mean? I think the Ekatike signing was done because they weren't 100% sure that they got Isak. That's personally mine. And it obviously came late, didn't it? So they weren't willing to risk it and go without.
Jota might have affected that as well.
Yeah.
Because he might have been keeping him.
Yeah. The problem is, now they've come to a point where they're going to have to shoe on a number 9 on the left, aren't they? In my opinion. That's the route that they're going to have to go. The problem is, we've sat the number 10 situation. I think this is what's pissing me off with, and he said Klopp then. Slot is, I don't think he has a clue how to deal with the number 10. Because I think he's making so many mistakes with Wirtz. He comes into the game, for instance, the other day, and then what does he go and do? He takes the player out of the team who was the one giving him the ball, Alexis McAllister. You mentioned the substitution before, Mo. Endo, I still can't get that round the head. And that cost Liverpool a game. Simple as that. Liverpool lost the game on the basis, for me, that substitution, because it just turned the game on its head again. But with regards to the signings, no, I think there's a plan with them. But I don't think the manager signed them, because his job title says a lot of it, doesn't it? He's a head coach. And could you imagine him going, I want fucking Wirtz, I want Isak, blah, blah, blah. There's not a chance. But I think this was the summer of Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes making a statement to everybody. This was their summer. And I'm not being funny. Arne Slot, after winning the Premier League, was fucking jumping up and down in the summer when he seen the list of names that Liverpool were going for. He couldn't have fucking believe. This is in his wildest dreams. Do you know what I mean? As any manager in world football would be. It will take a bit of time. But my issue is not the signings. The manager needs to fucking stop chopping and changing these lads. Because in my opinion, Grizz, talking of the right back and left back, he's played them out of form, in my opinion. Especially the 2 right backs. Both of them look like they couldn't even fucking pass wins, never mind pass the ball. Do you know what I mean? And I think this 45-45 shit, no footballer in world football.
Yeah, just really quick question, because it's a really good point, but do you remember a few weeks ago Slot made that point of saying, look, last season around the PSG Newcastle match, I didn't change enough and it affected us. Do you think he's maybe a bit scarred from that and he's thinking, fuck, I've got to rotate these lads if I want to push for more trophies?
100%, but last year they were a settled team. These are new lads. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And lads, you've mentioned it before. Why is the fucking right back at right wing? Why is the centre midfielder at right back? Do you know what I mean? We brought in a left back who's used to bombing down the pitch. He's now playing an inverted fucking fullback role.
Yeah, but guys, I mean? can I step in a little bit?
In my opinion.
I'm just going to slightly defend Slot here in terms of if he continues to do this, then I think the point's very valid. But I think with the injuries, and you got to remember, Bradley and Frimpong were out at the same time. They both got injured at the same time. Pretty much both for the same amount of period of time as well. And they've come back looking like amateurs. So his hand was forced to play Szoboszlai. Now,
I get that. I do get that point.
Yeah. So if Szoboszlai continues to play right back, when them two, after the international break, we expect them to have a, God willing, clean bill of health, right? Fully fit. They've had their rough patch. They've had their coming back from injury patch. I'm expecting Frimpong and Bradley to really pick up their games, right? Let's just start with them two for now. If he continues to do that, then I'm with you on the what's going on here. Why did we spend money on Frimpong then? Even if it was nothing, like 30 million in the modern day, whatever. Right? It's nothing. Could we have spent that 25, 30 million on a Diaz replacement? Could we have spent that on a bloody Mark Gahey? Give that extra money to Mark Gahey and do it as centre-back, right? But I'm willing to check it out for the next 3-4 weeks. Mo, in your opinion then, because Ben's basically said, like, Slot is the issue for now because it's his role, it's his responsibility to find a formation that works. I agree. I think he went overboard with the 2 number 9s, but I really agree with this fella. Pratham says, I think the players were brought in with the future in mind, like second Verts feel like the plan post-Salah for creativity and goals. So, Ben said we tried to replace Trent's creativity with Verts. I think we've not only tried to replace with just Verts, because Trent was that much of a, say what you want, but he was a genius in terms of build-up and creativity. I think we've done Frimpong and Verts to try to replace Trent. It's a total different way of whole different profile of player, isn't it?
Yeah, and I get your points as well, Grizz, but that Galatasaray game, I was in complete disbelief when I seen Frimpong playing right wing and Szoboszlai playing right back. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. When that team news came out, I was honestly thinking, what's Szoboszlai doing on right wing? And then when the game kicked off, he's playing playing right back. So you can't defend that with Slot. So clearly he doesn't trust Frimpong in that right back position. That just shows me that he doesn't trust him in that position. And then that leads me to question, why was he bought? Why did we think about buying Frimpong if the manager doesn't want to play him at right back? What was the reason behind it? Because maybe he was cheap? Because he was quite cheap. He was like 30 mil. That really, really frustrated me.
Yeah, but wasn't that, again, I'm going to sound like a top red here, but wasn't that to rest Salah? That was the only time midweek to rest Salah.
Let it be, but I'd rather just play Frimpong at right back as the right back that you bought and just play Szoboszlai right wing, or play a different formation where maybe you can play Szoboszlai as like a right midfielder as opposed to a right winger. There could be so many different solutions. It's a lad that you've bought to play right back, and instead you've played him right wing and you put your midfielder at right back. That for me is mental. I'm not having that. I don't want to see that again. If both of them are on the same team sheets in the future, I'm hoping and praying that Frimpong's playing right back because that's where he was purchased for. And then again, I'm not defending Frimpong because when he came on against Crystal Palace, he was arguably our worst player on the pitch. He was abysmal. Like, he was really, really bad. He couldn't pass a ball 2 yards. He was just diabolically bad. But then even when he played right wing, he only had one skill. Kick it to the byline and try and cross it with his pace. Didn't do nothing else. So
yeah, but is there again, moving forward, looking ahead, when Salah goes AFCON, I genuinely believe that's what he's playing.
And he has mentioned it in the past, and he's obviously shown it, that he can play right wing, and Slot has decided to play him right wing. So when Salah goes on AFCON duties, then most likely, he will play at right wing. Does it fill me with confidence? Not really, I must be honest. I don't think he's the best right winger. I don't even think he's the best right back. I'm a little bit confused with Frimpong. I was confused with the signing, and I'm confused with his position. I think his best position is where he played in Leverkusen as like that right wing back. But that is something that he needs to figure out. But I agree with the rest of your points that he has had a couple of injuries, slowly bleeding these players into the team. And